All right, Red Devils, let's get real. INEOS swoops in, Radcliffe's waves a checkbook. Of course, Barada makes some promises of culture, best in class. Things will change, all good, but here's the twist: 3 seasons of missed chances, mid-table finishes, and more talk than trophies, guys. You remember the meltdown last season, 24-25, 15th in the league, record home defeats, old habits rearing back again. So tonight I came at this from a different angle, guys, and from my perspective, this isn't a rebuild? What if it's just a rebranding of the same old cycle? Let's dig into this process, the infrastructure, but also the results, the vacuum. Ratcliffe's 2 billion, the stadium dream sounds sexy, but what if the club is just piling shit up? You know what I mean? Talking to us and selling us dreams, but this is not really what really going on. You see what's happening with Liverpool, you see what's happening with City, you see Arsenal, you see other teams improving, but what is going on with Man United? And it's just different. It's not working out. You know what I mean? And if you look at some of the performances from 2022-23 season, we struggled to mount a title challenge. Transition issues marked the campaign. We finished eighth, and this was their worst Premier League placing since 1980 to 1989, 1990 season, guys. I just want you to remember that this is just me recapping some of the things that happened previously. And the only way I could say this like that is because, guys, well, at the end of the day, it's not good. You know what I mean? And as a Man United fan, we need to do better. And when we finished 8th in 23-24, it was one of the worst placings. Of course, we had a negative goal difference and we exited the UCL in the group stages. That is not something we want to repeat itself. 2024-25, when we thought it couldn't get any worse, it was catastrophic. It was catastrophic, guys. Finished 15th and the league, and then we had 42 points. It's the worst in the modern era of Premier League football. And what can we say? Inconsistency. Inconsistency. The key word, guys, I say. Huge swings in performance, big wins mixed with inexplicable collapses, losses, and unexplainable poor performances. Why is this the case? What direction is Ineos really carrying this club into if there's no consistency to follow? There's no progression behind it. It's a set of decisions that just seem radical, seem amazing. Sometimes I think it's just to catch our attention and make us go, wow. But then where's the follow through? My buddy Bali Tech always talks about these things, and I certainly hope that he pulls up. I forgot to send him the link, but never fear. I'm gonna drop the link in the comments. I know he will be by, and if anyone wants to come in and just have their say about this, definitely I think it's something we need to be discussing because hey, guys, it's our club and we want the best for Man United. And of course, I don't think anyone here can disagree when we are saying we haven't seen any good things consistently to say that it deserves our attention, deserves our focus, and our firm backing. At the same time, there are lots of different reports flying around. There are lots of different things. So let's look at some of the different criticisms. Investment versus returns. That's another topic. Lots of things people were talking about. People are saying, we are talking about, oh, we need to sell well and we need to purchase players, before they become that big player so we can get some better deals. The likes of Baliba going to Brighton years ago for 300,000 and now he's worth 100 million. It's going to be very interesting to see how we get this done. Shout out to you, Irfan, in the building. What's going on? Well, I'm breaking down this from a little bit of a devil's advocate perspective, Irfan, because when we look at it, the massive spending, the high wage bill, and yet the trajectory is not really going upwards. But I could say we started off the season in a different vein of last season, even of the season in 23-24. So I could say there is some certain, improvements. But we will see where the consistency comes in because, I mean, it's the first 10 games. There's not much of a sample size, guys. I think over the course of the next 10 games, we will see that. Of course, it's an international break in between, so it will take some time, of course, to see that consistent run. But there is a double game week in December. So, guys, it's going to be 4 to 6 games of pure madness coming up very soon. And then we have players leaving for AFCON. Of course, the culture and effort, pundits and former players blast a lack of intensity and standards at Man United. Recently, CR7 himself was talking about, the weak mentality at the club, poor decisions being made by the management and the ownership. And of course, we have to say, guys, that we have seen it ourselves. And while we can say there are some players who we like, but the poor performances and the ineptitude of some of the decisions that is made by the board has led us down this direction. You know, United will hit the reset once Sesko hits form. I mean, I'm not doubting these things, Irfan. And of course, it's one of those things where there are positives to be seen. Of course, we are a work in progress. Some of the players do still need a lot of time, but we're examining the board. We're not examining the team in this current moment. I think what we're looking at right now is what direction is INEOS taking us in? Are we going forward or are we standing still? Is this an actual rebuild or a rebrand of the same old cycle, fam? So, I would say to you guys joining, this is not about the players in this current moment. The club has a job to do. They need to make sure that the manager has the best possible squad to get the job done. Of course, knowing that the manager does not play the same formation or same style as we played before, then we need to take this from a different angle and make adjustments. And this is why I say, like we had Ten Hag before. I don't think the management fully followed through with what he needed to get his system working. And now we switched to our back three. And really and truly, let's see what's going on because they definitely need to support Amarim. Now, some of you might think and might understand that I'm not the biggest fan of Amarim in this current moment, but I'm the biggest fan of Manchester United. And while he's the manager, I would say that the club and the board, they need to do their very best to make sure he has all the required pieces and tools in the arsenal that would be needed to take Man United forward. And of course, I may not agree with every single one when they say we need to sign, sign, sign. 100 million players there, 100 million players here. I think some of it should come from the academy as well. We've had the talents, we have to develop it. We're in a rebuild. You know, we can challenge for the league this season. Must we complete a victory, a miracle win? I don't know. Some people might be mad at me for saying this, but I'm just being honest. I think we should be more focused on the future of Man United than what's happening this current season. I think we need to actually, try to maintain where we are, try to get ourselves into top four this season as the major target, and next season look to challenge. But some people might very well disagree, and I can't disagree. I can't argue with them if they do. Irfan says, I see good changes. The environment is less toxic, except Neville's survival punditry. Vavell is doing well. I will have to very much agree with you, bro, because I think Vavell is doing an amazing job so far, and I would hope that he does even better going forward. Now, what I would say is that there are a lot of good things happening at Manchester United. We certainly needed the upgrade at Carrington. That's a 50 million investment that is definitely needed. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, I would say let's work on that and let's focus and keep our eyes open. We have seen a lot of young talents been scouted by Man United and are coming into the club from various environments, whether it's from CONCACAF region, AFCON region, whether it's from other regions as well. And I would say to you guys, we certainly need this. Like, shout out to Ray Carl Brown Amory in the building, gifting 5 memberships. Guys, shout out to Ray Carl. If you got a membership, welcome, bro. Welcome, bro. Your boy is back from Barcelona. Was an interesting weekend. Of course, I was walking around with my Man United kit all the time. Well, not every day, but for the first 2 days, I was definitely. And the last day I left, I was definitely walking around with that in tow on my back and the Trini flag, of course. Shout out to Tony Claude Gunner receiving a gifted membership, James Bond, Mikael Zachariah, MUFC Rocks, and Uncle Randy. Shout out to you guys. I hope you enjoy it. And of course, make no mistake, Raquel Brown is a legend of the channels, guys. So make sure to say thank you. Hope you guys are all joining, and don't forget to smash a like and subscribe. And let's continue on, guys, because certainly it's going to get more interesting. We have to look at, more things about the board, you know, in your yeah, I mean, Irfan, I hope I see that we see that they're trying to support him in January, or they will make. Yeah, or I mean, if you thinking about that statement, Irfan, if you look at some of the situations happening right now, and I want to draw reference to Kobe Manu and as well as Joshua Zirkzee, and these are the things where I feel like they have made mistakes, because if we have seen as a team, everyone, that has seen that maybe Kobe Manu doesn't fit the way Amarim wants to play. Maybe Joshua Zirkzee also doesn't actually fit the way Amarim wants to play. You know what I mean? And guys, I'm not trying to say that it's Amarim's fault entirely, but I'm certainly saying that if the board has not done their best in trying to get these players moved on and make room for other players, whether it leaves us a bit light or not, there is no point in having players in our squad that is not going to be used. Of course, they will also add to the we have a good, we already have we have a change to the environment right now. It's a bit more positive, but with this, it gets more interesting, because who's to say that Kobe Manu being frustrated, not getting game time, you know that doesn't cause a sour taste in the mouths of other players. And what about the likes of Joshua Zirkzee? He's no longer getting chances, and it's not like if he didn't do well in the time that he did get chances this season. So I say to you guys, we definitely need to be careful. The board definitely needs to step up their approach. And of course, we know that they are supporting Ruben Amorim, but I think they need to do a better job of it. They need to be more efficient, get a little bit more creative as well. Because, even if the manager doesn't outright say, I don't want this guy, you should be able to see it. You should be able to already understand that this is a situation that's happening and need to move away from. So, guys, what I can say is that, with the fact that we all believe that they will be supporting this guy because this is their manager, and of course, it will look very bad for them. The vision gap currently, there's lots of big infrastructure plans, but the performance on the pitch is lagging. And, are all growing impatient with this, because the stadium talk run parallel to losing streaks, up until recently. And I would say to you guys that recent performance where we drew against Nottingham Forest is nothing to sniff at. And when I say nothing to sniff at, I never once thought we would lose. I always thought the worst case scenario against Nottingham Forest was going to be a draw. But, there are certain situations where I would say, in that game, Benjamin Sesko, he was having a decent first half, not so great second half, a little bit off the pace, and I would have given Joshua Zirkzee the last 20 minutes. I'm not the manager, but that's one of my criticisms. Maybe a Mason Mount injection and a Joshua Zirkzee may have given that spark that we need to secure 3 points. But again, the manager has to make his decisions. We could understand and hear what his criticisms or his opinions were of the decisions that he made and why he made them. But again, maybe if we had players that he was more readily willing to use in the squad, we would not be going through this issue. And there again, I put the ball back into the court of the board of direction, because the leadership comes from above, guys. Frequent changes, it serves to be a lack of sustainability, and it creates an unstable situation. And we need to have a clear direction. People might say that Dan Ashworth was sacked because he did a poor job. He was backing Ten Hag. But maybe Dan Ashworth was more clear on what was going to be needed to facilitate this transition to a back three from a back four, when he said to the club that what we would have to spend would be enormous figures in order to fully support and prepare for this manager to actually go forward to start winning things. And it's very agreeable. And if you look at it, we definitely need to spend. We need to bring in lots of talent who can play the way this manager wants to play. That doesn't mean that the talent we have is not good talent. They just don't play the way this manager wants to play. And that therein is a problem. And that problem can also trickle down to the academy, guys. Make no mistake. Because when I say that, I'm not trying to say that I wanted to, but I'm trying to say that, the academy plays a 4-3-3. They are treble winners, and they've been multiple league winners for the last 3 seasons since their transition. And now, guys, I'm just trying to figure out what are we going to do, because maybe the manager doesn't see any player there as a player that he can use. Maybe that's another issue. I don't know. But, just to highlight all what I've been talking about, guys, I just wanted to bring this up on the screen so I'm not just, chatting shit off the top of my head. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So let me just bring this graphic up. It's just like a little bit of a bulletin. I'll put it to the front of the screen so you guys could see everything. It should be coming up now. I'll just make it all the way bigger because yeah, it just makes more sense that way so you guys could see it. And this basically is just a little bit of a recap on all what was said by Barada, all what was said by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the actions so far, and debates and risks. In my honest opinion, Barada said reset the culture and standards, smart recruitment, data-led ICISIO, world-class facilities for players. Ratcliffe concurred, and Ratcliffe said, football authority and accountability in the club, invest in proper stadium plan, catch City and Liverpool sustainably. And these are the things. So far, our actions upgraded Carrington facilities, restructured football operations, and explored the stadium options. Costs and churn, is progress worth it? We will see. The effects are on result and accountability, we are yet to see. It's a debate for me versus hope. The verdict for me, is it real? Is it achievable in the current model? I'm not too sure. But this is just my honest opinion, guys, on what I think has been happening so far, and this is where I think we're at. I think, there are still some things that INEOS needs to prove to us, more or less, in all likelihood. And for me, guys, yeah, it's a journey, it's a rebuild, it's a long one, and there's still much more time to go. And people might want to say lots of things, guys, and say, well, they're seeing improvements. Of course, we're seeing improvements. I'm seeing improvements myself. I'm patient, guys. I don't know about you. Shout out to Richard James in the building. Shout out to you, my broski. I hope you're having a great one. But at the same time, guys, are we patient enough? Can we have the patience? Because we've had a very decent start to the season so far. And with this sort of start, we've gained some momentum, we've gained some confidence. This could definitely bode well and benefit us going into the next round of games. We've got Spurs coming up on the weekend, and then there's an international break until the 22nd. And our next game will be on the 24th, I believe. So let's see where it goes. But let's make sure and keep INEOS accountable for the direction that they are taking our club. Because at the end of the day, they have spoken about many things and they have promised many things, but they have not begun to firmly achieve these things. So this is where we are at right now, guys. It's not a negative situation, but it's just for us to keep an understanding where we are, where we need to go, understand what direction they have planned. And this all ties into the transfers, guys. So Jim Ratcliffe also said we will not be purchasing any £100 million players. We are not going to purchase an Mbappe. We are not going to purchase the next one. We're going to make the next one here. And why I'm saying this, guys, is because, there are lots of reports recently about, the likelihood of Manchester United making a deal for the likes of the young talent at Nottingham Forest, who we saw against this weekend. You know what I mean? And Elliot Anderson, he's not worth 90 million, at least not to Manchester United. Manchester United would have seen a reasonable figure, somewhere in the region of 55 to 65 million pounds, be achievable for the player for what he has done and for the time in the league. But with the fact that they are trying to slap a 90 million colours on this brother, it makes it very difficult for Man United to go in for a deal. And a lot of people might argue with me and talk about Ben Jacobs and all these things, but guys, I'm telling you now, our priority is Andrea Stiller. He's 40, he's about 40 to 45 odd million pounds. It's going to be a deal Man United does. And whether we get Elliot Anderson in the summer is a different story. But in January, I'm not too sure. I think there's more likelihood of a Adam Wharton for 70 to 75 million pounds on the horizon than a Elliot Anderson. And for me, guys, I won't be too disappointed in that because I know there's also firm interest from Man United in Antoine Semenyo. Of course, Antoine Semenyo is going to be one of those players heading off to AFCON, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, guys, this is just a little bit of an update, a little bit of a refresher for you guys. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what is the direction, where does INEOS want to go. But I say to everyone, please remember all what they've said because they say themselves where they are taking Man United forward. So now all we need to do is focus on their actions and make sure and hold them accountable for them. So if there's any issue with Amarim and he isn't fully supported, then I tell you guys, INEOS will be responsible. And at the end of the day, this is their guy, so they should never be in a situation like that. So, guys, have a great one. It's been your boy MarkN. Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe. And of course, guys, think about it. It's a lot. We got a long way to go. It's only 10 games played. We're in a decent position in the league. I'm pretty sure most people didn't expect us to be where we are right now. So let's take it in stride and take ourselves in time one up, 1 foot at a time, one game at a time. We already have one match per week at a time. Why rush? You know what I mean? We don't need to be saying we're there and we're going to be second right now. All we need to say is win the next game in front of you and just keep it one game at a time. And by February 29th, after all said and done, match week 18, and we could be in a very, very good position, with one or two signings, hopefully the introduction of Stiller. And I'm telling you guys, Man United could be in and around the runnings for a top four finish. Now, will it be a title challenge? I don't know. It's not something I can foresee. It's not something that I'm actually hoping for this season. So I'll be honest and say that. But what I would say to you guys is, as long as we can play the games in front of us and do our best and get 3 points, anything is possible. Shout out to each and every one of you watching. It's been your boy MarkN. Have a good night. Back tomorrow with transfer market news. I was supposed to do a transfer stream today, but you'll get that stream early tomorrow. Hopefully around 6 o'clock UK. But tune in live. Your boy will be there.